Head coverings?
Oh my!
Uh-oh. What does that even mean? Does the Bible say we're supposed to? Stay tuned at the very, very end of this video for a healthy, easy, quick, yummy salad recipe. Let's go. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Modest Mom. My name is Melissa, for those of you that are just now tuning in. I am a minister's wife. My husband and I and our 3 children, we live in a tiny home. We're on some family land right now until we find some land that we would like to be on and that the Lord would like us to be on. And I just went for a little walk today, and I thought I'd bring you along with me. Me and the girls, as you can see. Say hi, girls.
Hi. Hi.
And anyway, so today's topic that I was going to talk about is sort of a controversial topic. I'm trying to keep you guys somewhat out of the sun. It's sort of a controversial subject. So head coverings is a topic that is a little touchy, I think, for some women. And so I'll start off by talking about my testimony with head coverings. I first read this scripture a few years ago, and the scripture is in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, for those of you that don't know or haven't studied it out maybe, or are interested in it. And I brought it to my husband. I was like, am I supposed to wear a head covering? Like, I wasn't sure, I never studied it out. And he didn't really know. And so, I had actually tried it in my private prayer life. And I was like, this is awesome. So it had made a huge impact in my private prayer time. As far as what I mean by that is, I could focus when I pray. I know at least for myself, sometimes it's hard when you pray. Your mind wanders. Your mind's like, what's that sound? Or, oh, the kids are crying. Stuff like that, And so it really helped me zone in and focus. And then, and the other part of that, the Bible talks about how we are to put on the full armor of God, and for things that we can't even see. And I felt like I could actually fight in prayer, if that makes any sense. If I could actually talk to God and feel like I am just fighting through prayer, if that makes sense. And it was just awesome. But I never really took it any further than that. I didn't wear it in public at all. I didn't want to look different. And I was scared of it, truthfully. And so really I pushed it under the rug. And I was like, we're just going to let that go, even though I had such a good experience with it. And a few years later, and it was brought back up again. And I was like, okay, I'm going to study this out, right? And so I did. And truthfully, to me, those passages, I'm not going to read it word for word. These are kind of just chats that I have and thoughts that I have about things. And so I read that, and truthfully, I think that it's talking about the order that God has made, as far as, in other parts of the Bible. In Genesis, he talks about making Adam, making man, and then out of the dust of the earth, and then Eve was taken from the rib of Adam, of man. And women, in 1 Corinthians, it talks about women are made for the man. And, a lot of people would be like, or a lot of women may think that that's sort of sexist and whatnot, I guess. Oh, I'm covering up the camera, sorry. But I really think women's mindsets need to change. He also talks about in that scripture how we're basically, we're just as special as men. Men have jobs, and I think that women have their own jobs. And in place in life. And, you know, he talks about in that scripture how women should have their head covered if they're praying or prophesying. And I just sort of in this video wanted to talk about how the reason I think it's an actual physical head covering, there is talks about how maybe that it's like the hair, okay? So I was trying to play that role in my head when I was studying it out. Like, no, maybe it is just the hair. Maybe you're just supposed to have longer hair. And I was studying it out, and it was verse 6 that really separated that for me, that it was two physical, like two separate things, and not just your hair. Because it says, I'm trying to remember, for if a woman is uncovered, this is my words, but it's similar, same thing pretty much. If a woman is uncovered, so if you had the mindset that it was just maybe your hair, and it's saying you are uncovered, so if your hair is like, I guess, already gone, or maybe like, I don't know, you didn't have very much of it or something, it says let her be shorn, and shorn means shaven, right? So if your hair was already gone, you wouldn't have anything to be shaven. But if it was a physical covering and you were praying uncovered, if you were uncovered, then he said you might as well shave your head. And so that is where it really lit in my heart and in my head and made sense to me that it was two separate things. And this is what I got out of the scriptures, guys, and I'm just sharing my thoughts. And some of you may really not like what I'm saying, and this is a very controversial subject, so some of you may not like it. But I'm just sharing my thoughts. So it also talks about how you are, if you don't cover your head, you're dishonoring God. And, you know, I thought to myself while I was praying about whether I was supposed to do this or just kind of let it go because nobody else covers their head very much. Or you don't see it very much, right? The Amish, Mennonites. There's a few people that I've seen that aren't Amish or Mennonite that cover their head. Well, no, probably only a couple. Maybe me being one of them. No, whenever I was reading this and studying it, I thought to myself, because it says, you know, if you're praying uncovered, you're dishonoring God. And I want to honor the Lord. I want to honor my God. And, you know, if that means looking a little silly, then so be it. But I don't, you know, now it is seriously just a part of me. I couldn't imagine really without it. Without, like, going out in public without having my head covered. I just couldn't imagine it. And, you know, another argument is that it's a culture thing. But people used to wear, like, women, I'm covering the camera again. Women, I mean by people, used to have their head covered when they go to funerals and churches and things like that, like services, a long time ago. And I don't really know why it was stopped. I think it was stopped because of maybe a cultural thing, you know, vice versa. It stopped because of a cultural thing. And I'm just not really sure why, because I just know for myself it has benefited me so much. This is me after I did the video, guys. I forgot to mention, whenever I was saying about how I don't think it's a cultural thing anymore, Apostle Paul, when he was writing that, he didn't say it was a cultural thing. He talks about why you should wear it. And that was also another reason why I don't think it's a cultural thing. And I didn't want to leave that out. So, you know, it's hard to be different. It's hard to look different for God. I know it is. And I was scared to death the first time I went to church with a head covering on. Because I felt convicted to wear it. And, you know, shame on me that I was scared. But, you know, nobody's really said much about it. I mean, there's a few people that's mentioned it, but I think the benefits outweigh it all. And like I said, I want to honor the Lord. And I don't think we should just not look at some scriptures just because maybe it's not popular to do right now. And I know that's going to make a lot of people mad. And I'm sorry. I shouldn't say sorry, I guess. But I don't know. Guys, these are just my thoughts. At the end of these scriptures, it talks about, so I was going back and forth. Whenever I was deciding whether I should do this or not. And I was going back and forth, and then I thought, no, you know, nobody does that anymore. I don't want to do that. And I read at I think it's the very last verse of chapter 11 of how it says, God says, don't be contentious, which is basically like, don't argue about it. And I was like, oh, okay. And that sort of put it all together for me. That's sort of my testimony of how I started wearing head coverings. I did not grow up wearing head coverings. You know, I don't know. It just hasn't been something nobody has done for a long time. And I know that I look different. But I know it has helped my walk with the Lord greatly. And my prayer life and the mental attacks aren't so bad when I cover my head. And I encourage anybody who's maybe studying it out, study it further, and you see what the Lord has for you in that. And you know, I know it's not something that is common or that everybody does, but we're supposed to be a peculiar people, right? And sometimes that means maybe looking different than the world. And guys, that is pretty much my journey of how I started wearing, oh, there's a bug, how I started wearing a head covering. And like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. And I encourage any of you guys who are curious about these scriptures, go read them for yourself and pray about it. And I just ask that we take the whole Bible, not just bits and pieces of it. And let me know in the comments maybe if you cover your head. And thank you guys so much for watching. I wanted to let you guys know, thank you so much for the love and the such kind words that you guys have said on my last video. I got so many views and I was just so surprised because I was not expecting that many. And you guys have been such a blessing, and not gonna lie, it was a good confidence boost for me in knowing that this was gonna be a good thing. And so if you want to see more videos, please don't forget to subscribe onto my channel, Modest Mom, and like the video, share it with your friends. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you next time, guys. Can you say bye? Look, say bye. Bye. First, what you're going to want to do with this salad is, with your one head of lettuce, you're going to chop it up into little squares. I've already washed mine and it's ready to go. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add, you're going to want to season this pretty good with salt and pepper, because there's actually very few ingredients in this salad, which I really, really like. So we're going to add a good amount of salt and pepper. I like some of this thicker pepper with stuff like salads. We like pepper in my house, so I add quite a bit of it. I even like to add some everything bagel seasoning. It puts a little bit different flavor on it that I like. Now what you're going to want to do is add your olive oil. And some good old lemon juice. And this is just to taste, guys. However you prefer. And then we toss it up. And guys, this is it. This is the simple salad recipe. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you for watching.